Mic check 1 2 1 2. You want to beef with the king? What is you gonna do?
Hey, you still a T.I. fan?
Yeah, I would consider myself a T.I. fan still. Maybe not as prominent as I once was, because he definitely was the king of the South in my era. And
He was the king of the South. I mean, because he claimed it. But I
yeah,
think it could have went somewhere else to a different rapper.
right. But I like what he did in his time, and I definitely like what he is
Transcended.
transcended into. So did you see the news about his recent development?
I mean, I really haven't been keeping up with him, and it's also been kind of hard to keep up with him because he's been moving a lot differently.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but when he switched to the comedy, like it kind of lost me
Right.
just because it was like, you know, respectfully, T.I. already kind of was funny. You know what I'm saying? He already kind of had a funny way about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like his way he sounded, talked, and kind of, hit the big words and all that. So it was like when he went to comedy, it was just like, it just was a shock to me.
I remember hearing about him going into comedy, but it didn't really last too long.
So
Kind
he
of
doesn't
because
do it anymore?
I don't know, he might do. What I recently seen that I thought was very commendable is he recently built this affordable living complex right in Atlanta, Georgia. And what was unique about this is that he even has a wing for homeless teenagers on there.
Right.
So I thought that was really really cool. So shout out to Ti.
Got it, T.I.
Uh,
What's
but
up? What's up? What's up? Thank you for joining. My name is Brandon Tillman,
and I'm Tony Tong.
and together we bring you the Man Cave Memoirs, a safe space, for unfiltered male conversations. And we just want to thank you all for joining. Um, First of all, we're going to get started with just a couple of reflections, of the week thus far. I just want to say it's been a challenging week for me myself. I've gone through a move, relocating across town. If you
Restructuring your whole schedule.
restructure my whole schedule, my whole feng shui, you know what I mean. But
How long have you been into your old routine? Like how long has that been the routine as far as
uh, I say a good 2 years,
oh, okay.
solid. Yeah,
How has the transition been for you?
different. Um, it's always different, with a move because you're at a place for so long, and then it's just like, you know, you wanna make some changes. It's the perfect time to make changes, you know what I mean, and make adjustments and stuff like that. So it was different, but things are getting better. Just
What do you feel like was the most difficult or trying aspect of the move?
was just the back and forth. Just moving from one side of the county to another side. It was from moving from the smack dab center of Valdosta, you know what I mean, to outside of the county. It's just been, just back and forth with furniture and boxes and unloading and loading up.
You did some painting too. I seen some pictures online of you like patching some walls and doing some painting.
Man, I was doing it all, man. I mean, I always do it all, but I mean, that was just one of them overtime grinds. It was a lot of late nights, right back up in the morning, hitting it. You know what I mean? So, but
Well,
we good though.
I'm glad you got through all that. Um, my week was pretty interesting. It was very, very steady with both of the businesses. So Urban Ink was pretty steady. We're preparing for some holiday specials and things like that. Just really trying to close out the end of the year really, really strong and prepare for 2024. The grill shop is been going crazy. We're preparing to do the Gold Teeth Master Academy, in which we train young entrepreneurs on how to build successful jewelry businesses by using grills as a vehicle. So I'll be showing exactly what I did to build my six-figure storefront, and we'll be teaching this education to entrepreneurs all over the world. So I'm excited about that. 2024, we're really going to usher that in really, really hard. So
Fabulous. I'm just trying to get get synchronized with the world. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's great. I know every time I come up here, you have, or every time I go to the shop, it's always customers either coming in, coming out, or you're in the middle of dealing with customers. So, I know I'm excited for what 2024 has to bring because I know you've been working hard. So,
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, man. Right now, what I want to do is give a big shout out to our sponsors, LT Stogies. LT Stogies was created in 2018 for the classic and casual man, the classic cigar smoker. It's made with imported fillers that come from Indonesia and from Egypt. So that's really, really interesting. And then it's black owned. So the ones that we will be smoking today are the factory smokes, and they were gifted to us by Dallas from Kings United and LT Stogie. So shout out to Dallas as well.
Dallas.
Yeah, my guys out there living it up. Yeah, as a traveling nurse in Arizona, man, getting the bag. Most traveling nurses that I know get to the bag. Like it's not like it's not like a minimal salary in that occupation. I ain't trying to tell everybody what you make, but hey, I think you do fairly well for yourself. So kids are out for school, man.
Yeah.
You didn't sound too excited about that.
Nah, just really, I mean, I'm not excited. I mean, yeah, I'm excited to have my little girl at home, but I really forgot that they were out of school next week. Um, I just had a, quick reminder on my way out the door. I was expecting my little girl to be asleep when I returned to the house, and you know, wifey was like, "Oh no, no, she's out this week." I'm like, "Oh, wonderful."
We was having a conversation the other day about the content that we let our children look at and what is like low vibration, high vibration
Thanks.
type of um entertainment, or not even necessarily entertainment, but things for them to watch. And you had a very interesting perspective about that. I think we were talking about Coco Melon, and you were telling me why you really don't like Coco Melon.
Was it Coco Melon?
It was something similar to Coco Melon.
I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I do remember the conversation, and I do. It was actually something I had posted on social. It was an article talking about the high vibrations, the colors, I mean, just the different voices that they use. The non-human style voices. They use high pitched voices and stuff like that, and how it just affects the development of the child. It affects their
So
their
it's not
temperament.
that stimulating, you would say.
It's overstimulating.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's they're just too young for that. You know what I mean? That's too much for them at 3, 4 years old, 2, 3, whatever. You know what I mean? Just like when something says TV 7 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that really means no kids under 7 years old should probably be watching it.
It's
You know what
supposed
I mean?
to mean that
Yeah,
anyway.
you know what I mean? And it's like just even just it's a big difference. You know what I mean? And what the kids or what the programming is for uh the youth up to 7 years old and the PG stuff. It can be very low vibrational. You know what I mean? And it's not just like, hey, this is low vibrational. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just like, it can be very stimulating, but on the flip side for a toddler or, what I mean, a pre-K-er is like, this is not good. It's doing them more harm than good.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. So what are y'all doing for the holiday season?
We are, hosting. I'm hosting the in-laws briefly. Uh-oh. losing its umph.
Got some more.
Okay. But nah, just family type stuff, and may get on the road, run up the road, about an hour up the road, and slide on back. But not too sure yet. Oh, there we go.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of conflicted because I definitely like anything that supports and promotes unity, togetherness, family, friends, and I like the essence of what we create when we're around our loved ones during the holiday season. But it's just difficult because morally, fundamentally, I just don't believe in the reason why we support, or not support, but the reason why we celebrate Thanksgiving. When you actually get down to the meat and potatoes of what we're doing, we're uh, we're celebrating conquest of Spaniards um, coming in and taking advantage of the land that was once lived on by Native Americans, and the colonization. And in reality, I remember when we was in school, we used to be taught that Thanksgiving was this joyous togetherness
between
between Indians and the settlers. And we used to make ornaments and stuff like that. And some of us would be Indians and some of us would be settlers. But in fact, it didn't even happen like that. It's kind of
no.
like a whitewashed version of history. And they say that the winners are the ones that write the history book. So of course it's going to seem like a very friendly and non-inhumane or terroristic type of event. But in reality, that's kind of what we're celebrating. And sometimes I feel conflicted in how I should present it to my kids because ethically, the root of why we as a country began to support this day isn't morally and ethically right. So that's why you see a lot of this energy behind calling it Indigenous Peoples Day, right? Which I support that. But
that's what they want to call Columbus Day too.
Indigenous People Day, excuse me, that was Columbus Day, but for similar reasons,
Yeah, for sure.
Just having a different terminology. So, Friendsgiving, I guess, is what we'll be calling it. But I look forward to spending some time with the family and the kids, and some of the staff at work. We're gonna have a Friendsgiving type of jolly little get together.
That's dope. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, Thanksgiving to me is just really like a time to see family. You know what I mean? Because me personally, like, I don't have any like first cousins type that live around here. You know what I'm saying? Um, because like when I was growing up in Michigan, you know what I'm saying, I have a set of cousins, and like they hang out like best friends type. You know what I'm saying? So it's like every day is Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like they eating together, feasting every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Thanksgiving's just like another day. Me with my, the family I have in the South is like, they're not here. So it's like Thanksgiving, I look forward to it because that's when we get together. I wish it was more often, but that's just whatever. But I don't even teach like, my daughter or anything like no pilgrims and stuff like that. I think the most that they teach the kids at school now is like, or the younger kids is like Turkey Day or something, decorated turkey. They don't do no Indians and pilgrims. I don't see none of that kind of artwork coming to the house. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all good with it. It's but yeah, I feel and I've never really been like a. Once I learned that holidays was all about money or all about some type of crazy history that they flipped on us and got us celebrating. I honestly every day is a holiday to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like to me in my house every day is Valentine's Day, every day my birthday, every day Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Every day is
There's no reason
Thanksgiving.
to create a special day
Nah, every
to
day is
to
Mother's
observe.
Day, every day is Father's Day. In my house, that's how I see it. It's like we celebrating all that, not the holiday side of it all, but we celebrating all
The
those reasons.
togetherness. Yeah.
No, all those reasons they make those holidays, because it's every month there's a holiday. If you look at it, it's a holiday every
Sometimes
month.
multiple holidays.
Sometimes multiple, but there's a big holiday every month. So it's just like, why not? That's how I look at it. Shoot, on my birthday in February, but tomorrow I might just wake up and splurge on myself and be like, I'm celebrating. It's a new day. It might be. I'm feel like it's a new year. Might celebrate New Year's, man. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just another day. Well, I look forward to it, man.
I'm gonna eat good though.
Definitely. Uh, I was looking at some. Well, there's a lot of stuff, as you can see, that's going on with music within the past couple of weeks.
It's like five projects that dropped last week. Rick Ross and Meek Mills.
The Shaq and Kobe project
Yeah, Too Good to Be True. I think that's what it's called. Shaq and Kobe is the single.
is the single. Okay, yeah.
Jeezy, Kodak.
I didn't listen to the Kodak. Heard a little bit of the Jeezy. I haven't heard enough to make an honest assessment of it. I'm hearing mixed reviews online, but of course, opinions are subjective, so there's always going to be mixed reviews.
Who else? Drake and J. Cole did something, I think.
So yeah, Drake and J. Cole just announced that they're going on tour together. So this is exciting. It's kind of interesting to see two headliners of that magnitude being on the same ticket. So I'm excited to see how big it actually gets. One of my colleagues was just telling me he was looking up some tickets, and these weren't even like really floor section type tickets, but it was enough to get a good visual. And they were asking like 500 or 600 for these particular tickets. So that's a lot. And the last time we seen Drake do a tour, he did one with 21 Savage. And of course, 21 Savage is a great artist, don't get me wrong. And I like how he's developed as an artist as of recently. But to have Drake and J. Cole is just a different type of caliber of artist. But to have them both on the same roster, that's going to be interesting. I'm quite sure that they're going to do a lot of revenue with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I mean, honestly, $500 to see them sing some songs that I can play. I mean, look, I might be that old, grumpy old man that's just like I'm not hip anymore or whatever. But um, no disrespect. I just really wouldn't
spend $500 on a
It ain't
ticket.
even that. You know what I'm saying? I would spend $500 in a more private, or not private, but it's just a smaller venue, maybe like if the $500 got me a little bit more exclusive seating, or what I'm saying, let's just say it was a smaller venue, no, not necessarily smaller, but just say it's just different circumstances where it's like my $500. But
you felt closer to the action, or you more? It was a more.
I just wouldn't want to be around all them people, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no stadium full of people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really just got to where it's like, I don't really like going to like big events like that. You know what I mean? If it's just like, I don't know. I just don't understand what I would come back from other than having the experience, what I would gain from being a part of that.
Right. You just jumped around and got sweaty.
Listen to the same song. You know what I mean? But I get it. Don't get me wrong, but it just wouldn't be something I would. You know what I mean? But do they how many songs they even have together? The one they just dropped.
They're probably they might have a couple more.
Don't they got is J. Cole on fucking Problems?
No, he's not.
He's not? Okay.
No. But even with their own catalogs individually, I still think, we're talking about
Some
3-4
hits.
hours. Yeah, some hits.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't see, I will see. I don't know, man. I just, I look at these guys that rap or whatever, and it's like, when is the end? When is it? You know what I'm saying? Like MJ or like Kobe, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like his thing was he wanted to go out while he was on top. Like he wanted to be like still at the height of his game and step away from the game. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
I feel like Drake and J. Cole both got another 10 years, if not more. I would like to see, I believe, and this is not just because I'm a fan, but just based off of skill set, talent, and influence and movement in the culture, and the impact that he's had. But I believe that Drake is going to be able to do another 10, 15 years of timeless type of records because he can cross over so well into different genres. And what I would like to see him do is, you know, be one of the best of his time in the music, take a hiatus, and then go back to acting. And then we get to see him in that rare superstar form because this is where he started at. But think about like The Rock, for example. His platform was wrestling, but he was able to transform that into an
at the height
at the
of,
height of
yeah,
him being one of the biggest superstars in WWF or WWE, and then now he is the highest paid action star in the world. You know, and it all started from professional wrestling. So I can see him getting back into it because I've seen him do like skits and stuff with Will Ferrell, and he's kind of funny. So I like to see him in some more serious roles. But was online and I seen a lot of people having mixed opinions about this Andre 3000 album, and I've heard it. I know you've heard it. So when I first got the memo that
3 stacks.
was dropping an album, I was like, "Oh my God, it's almost been 20 years." And then I started remembering everybody was like, he's just going around the country with his flute playing music. So I was kind of prepared for that. And when I heard the first couple of comments saying, "Oh, there's no words on it," I was actually excited to listen to it because I know how prophetic he has been as a lyricist and as a pioneer in the culture with rap and hip hop music. And now that he's transformed and ascended into a different spectrum of musician, I was genuinely intrigued to see what he was going to drop.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I was too, because how long has it been since the last Outkast album? He put out 5, 6 verses in the last decade. You know what I mean? That's features. You know what I mean?
well,
And
the Idlewild soundtrack was probably was
it
that like one
was,
of the last major,
yeah, yeah. I really wasn't. You know what I mean? But it wasn't promoted as an Outkast album, so But the 5, 6 radio singles he released, and then he had singles that were like on the, I guess you could say, on the B side of people's albums or whatnot that weren't actually singles, but they were, you know what I'm saying?
like features.
Yeah, just features. So it was like I heard this, and I respect it because I mean, I respect the art. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. I get what he's doing. I get it. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Or did you like the album?
I can't say I liked it. You know what I mean? Because it's like I haven't listened to it. I've listened to it. You know what I mean? I haven't went back and listened to it again to be like, okay, I like this one. I like that one. You know what I mean? I like what I heard and I like what it was like. Okay, this is some mood music. This is some, you know what I'm saying? This is just some, you know what I mean? This ain't no
Any
whatever you
club,
expected. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, this is, it's really like, a gift to us. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we do need to settle. We need to chill. We do need to mellow out. We do need to just take a moment and like listen to within. As you can like tell from the titles of the songs, those was like thoughts. You know what I'm saying, that he was thinking. You know that inspired the song or that he thought after the fact of hearing it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I can't say that I like it yet, but I appreciate what he was trying to provide to the culture and the space that he was in. Now, 10 years ago, if I was in like my late 20s and I was moved by a different part of the culture and I heard this album, I would probably have um, maybe a negative review. I
yeah,
probably wouldn't like it because I'm looking for something else to move me. But where I'm at in my stage in life now and my level of maturity and the things that I have going on, the things that I'm engaged in, right? I have an appreciation for it, and I feel like it can be useful in my life. So I made a post about this earlier, and I said, I'm going to light some incense and meditate and listen to this. But in reality, through my practice of meditation, I'll usually go on YouTube and I'll find sounds that bring me peace and tranquility while I lose myself in my thoughts within that manifestation. And when I started hearing these instruments that he was playing and these different sounds, it put me in that same mentality. So, what I plan on doing is becoming more disciplined and structured in ensuring that I do get up every morning and meditate before I start my day. And then I'm going to start interjecting this music in there. And I think after maybe a month's time of me actually using it and me executing my day the way that I envisioned it in the morning, I'm going to have a more newfound appreciation for it. And just like with you, you said it the other day, you said something in reference to London. So I'll let you explain that a little bit more. But I brought that up to say, we're in different stages of our lives where what our lives require, we can appreciate what he was creating with that music. So, you said it was soothing for London, right?
Yeah, absolutely. London, my daughter. Um, I forgot where we were listening to it at. Maybe in the car or just at home. I really forgot the whole situation. Refresh me on it. I can maybe it'll pop back in my
Yeah,
head.
you were just saying, hey, I don't know how necessarily how I feel about the album yet, but I do know that it soothes my young daughter and it keeps her pacified. So, I guess what you were saying is that,
I
you know,
texted you that, didn't I? I
no, I think
I
that was a
forgot what I
post.
was doing. I mean, I remember telling you that, but I just forgot what I was doing. Sorry, y'all. I would have loved to expound on that
Right.
reminder that he just brought up, but I'm 40.
Yeah. Well, I guess music influences kids. So if kids are diddy bopping to the high BPM, high tempo stuff that they hear on the radio, they're just always, and if they hear something more tranquil, they might move in a little bit more of a peaceful manner. So I think
Facts.
that's what you were trying to say to me.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just I wasn't so hey, you only remember what you want to.
Right. So I was looking in the news the other day. I'm gonna pull it back up and see if I can get my fingerprint to work. So there was a man who was exonerated in the killing of Malcolm X, right? And he filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government accusing the FBI of hiding proof of his innocence. So this guy, his name is Muhammad Aziz. He was one of three men convicted in 1966 of first-degree murder, right, killing Malcolm X
Mm-hmm.
in the 1965 assassination of Malcolm X. So they actually exonerated him of any wrongdoing in 2021. It's crazy because I never remember hearing about this story, but he was exonerating of all charges in 2021, and now he is filing a $40 million lawsuit against the FBI, alleging that they were hiding proof of his innocence the whole time. So I guess wanting to use him as a scapegoat or a scapegoat for the actual murder. And this is kind of interesting because this kind of incites a whole lot of conspiracy theories of who really killed Malcolm X and what was the intention of killing him. So right now, this guy is in this legal battle where he's suing the FBI for $40 million, saying that they intentionally hid evidence that would have proved his innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, says that he was in the room, his kids were in the room, his wife was in the room the day that he gave the speech. So that's
And gave the speech the day he gave the speech in the court.
well, when Malcolm X gave the speech when he was
Oh,
murdered, this guy Aziz, his whole family was there, his kids, his wife, and stuff like that. Um, but he says FBI employees concealed information that would have exonerated him years ago, um, and it was intelligence that COINTELPRO had. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't really think that. I would like to hope that he would get some type of compensation, but if the things that he is saying is true, and that he was meant to take the fall for this, and that people could have freed him because they had information saying that he was innocent, I don't think they're going to be so quick to take the blame for that, or even make that public information. If that's really the case of what was going on.
Yeah, man, they gonna settle it out and make him you know, settle it out and probably not let him talk about it anymore. It's fucked up.
Very. I personally don't believe that this was just a person who wanted to harm Malcolm X. There was a lot of mixed opinions of Malcolm X, especially within the Nation of Islam, but for the most part, he was a person who was loved and spread a powerful message. So, I often question the legitimacy or the intent of the person who killed him, if it was staged, if it was, done by outside interests to cripple the influence that he had over the black community at that time, because, there's a lot of stuff going on in the 60s, right? And the powerful keep people divided by ensuring that they can't unify. And in most cases, they have to take out people of influence who have voices that are powerful enough to lead the masses. So,
Yeah, man, shit's fucked up. Yeah, it's crazy, man. One of them things in history that just like, just like, man, all the details around it. One of those theories. It's just very doesn't sit right. Because there's just always new information. Here we are 60, 80 years later, and it's still new information that comes up. So it's just, and just to think that this information is leaking out from a source that is, you know, the source that it is. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, you know, the FBI, just, it's just a fucked up situation, man. It's very bad. But, hopefully things go in his favor and, you know, more information is revealed and, more people are, get justice
right.
or he gets his justice.
I almost feel like we're so conditioned to focus on other things that, like, it wouldn't even matter if he won the lawsuit and this came out to be true. Like, there was a time where this would and it would invoke passion amongst the people, but people got so much stuff going on in their own lives, they don't even really care about that.
I mean, it's 1966, bro. That's almost 80, 60 years later.
Right.
And it's just like, bro, it's like, was Malcolm X in the Panthers? No. Nah, he wasn't. But still, it's like 60 years later, it's like when you hear Black Panther now, what you think of? The Marvel movie. You thinking about Panthers from 19 whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
They've
it
conditioned us to perceive it in a different way.
yeah, and it's like the condition of this particular situation is just that it's been just pushed so far back that it's like, it's like you said, if he gets his justice, gets his lawsuit, like who's gonna, say, who's gonna get upset? Like who's gonna
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, every year we celebrate Martin Luther King's Day. Every year we have speeches for Martin Luther King. There are elders in your family who can recount what it was like to live during that time when they were marching um, and becoming arrested for different protests and things like that.
right?
So he has become indoctrinated in the history and culture of America in the form of civil rights and activism, and just his impact to the culture and to Black America as a whole. But, it came out that the FBI was found guilty of having involvement with his assassination. but there's no outcry. There's no, hey, we demand answers for this. Like, this was our martyr. This was our, he was our hope.
Yeah, no, but it's like,
But now this has come out. There's no outcry from the people to hold the FBI accountable for having whatever um, involvement in that wrongdoing.
I bet you go back and look at when was that information released? Because I know that the court case when that happened was like in the 90s.
It was in the 90s.
You know what I mean? But when was that released to the public that all that had been, you know what I'm saying? And whenever you find out when that was released, go look at what was happening in the news, what was trending, what was going on, because I'm sure it was way more probably a lot more interesting to the people that majority to the majority.
I have to find that. 99. Looks like it says 99, which is crazy. $1 million lawsuit, but it wasn't something that was publicized. We don't talk about it. It's not taught in the school books when you learn about Martin Luther King. So.
Yeah, it sucks, man, because I mean, you know, it just sucks because average person ain't gonna average young kid ain't gonna be. It sucks. It just sucks, man. That stuff is information is revealed and shared with the public, and it's just no outcry, no nothing. You know what I mean? And it's
Did you have a chance to catch up on that story earlier about the CEO of ChatGPT?
yeah, I saw that where uh he didn't have any ownership in the company or something like that, so the board was able to vote him off.
Which is
Kind of
crazy.
like what happened with Steve Jobs with Apple back in the day.
That's crazy. Um, Unlike Elon Musk, because he had a large portion of shares in the company.
In ChatGPT.
Yeah, so Altman, who was the CEO, he was voted off by the board because the board said that um,
His contribution was not significant or something like that.
it wasn't a contribution significant. He was not consistently candid in his communications with the board as CEO. And he was one of the co-founders of the startup. So it was Altman, um, Greg Brockman, and it looks evidently that Elon Musk had his hands in that too. So because he had no equity in the business, it was easy to vote him off. So how does that work? So he has no shares, so he just like asked out with nothing. Like, I co-founded this company with these men, but I had no equity in the company, and now I'm voted out of a CEO position, which was probably a
Same
salary
thing
position.
with Steve Jobs. It was like Steve Jobs started it, and then all the investors and shareholders, you know, they formed the board.
Bought up the majority of the shares.
Yeah, sucks. Like, I mean, it caused a lot of big wigs to leave right behind him. Just because that they did him wrong. But I think that that's not the last of him that we'll hear of. He took three, or not took, but three of the top leading developers or designers left um, the same day he was fired, and one of the original creators along that was with him and Elon, he also left too the same day.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's not the end of it. It's a wonder why they left so abruptly. Even the guys that left after the fact of him getting fired, because it's like, what, you know what I mean? Like, why did they, what is the future? What direction are they trying to go to where they feel that they need to separate from the creator of the, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, I want to do a little bit more of a deep dive because I'm interested to see what it was that was not aligning. I seen that he was just in a hearing urging lawmakers to kind of put restriction and guidelines on the use of AIs in software, and I can only think that he would want to um, have a limit on who has access to the technology and what they can actually do. But I do feel like in some regards there does need to be some type of standard and protocol for the use of AI. And the reason why I say that is because I seen an ad the other day, and the ad is it's about some grant that you can get, $6,400 or whatever. But I'm starting to see these ads in my algorithm because I guess I've watched one 30 seconds too long. But they're having clips of Cardi B, they're having clips of Jay-Z, and they're using AI to replicate the voice to do the ad. But it's not really these people, but it's
Yeah.
looking like,
You get
hey, I'm
Cardi
Cardi
B, I'm
B, and
getting
I'm
The
telling,
Rock. I'm getting
yeah.
The Rock, and I'm getting, who else I'm getting? Who's the other one I heard? Was it Tiffany Haddish? I couldn't tell you who it was, but it sounded like it was supposed to be somebody.
And then even with how you can, it's wild what we can do with AI right now and how we're able to recreate these images. They're able to take clips of the president's voices and their face and create whole videos that looks and sounds like they're having a dialogue that they're not really even having. So for the average consumer in the marketplace, it's very easy for them to be misled into buying something, into believing something. And you know, it's only a matter of time, and it's scary before this starts to trickle into politics and stuff like that, if it hasn't already.
Nah, yeah,
So
you're right. It's tough. That shit is crazy. I was watching. I was sitting with my daughter watching the cartoons the other day, and she watches a cartoon. Um, First of all, I was talking with someone, talking with wifey, and I was like, you know what? They need to bring back McGruff the Crime Dog. And she's like, they do have it. And I was like, what? She's like, Sheriff Labrador. And I was like, you know what? That is the new McGruff the Crime Dog. Sheriff Labrador is a cartoon my little daughter watches. And I was watching it, like they talk about everything. You know what I mean? And last night we were watching it, and there was an episode about don't let people fool you with AI. And this is teaching 4-year-olds, kids about AI and how people can face swap and use different voices and do catfish, like have you thinking that there's someone else set up to meet you and it be a whole different person. Like, oh, they went through all that shit on the cartoon, bro. So yeah. So they got, I mean, but like you said, man, it sucks because, I know guys that's, 40 that's still getting scammed on IG because they, what I'm saying, believe in some some AI, some bot chatting with them. You know what I'm
and it's
saying?
not even real.
You know what I mean? And they, you know, going to get money out their savings and paying this bot. You know what I mean? Because somebody done finessed them with the word track.
I seen a video, I shared it with you the other day, it was on Instagram, and it had this kid in the studio. He's singing these bars that he wrote, but he's crooning. It has a little melody, you know. And then he uses this AI plugin, and now this shit sounds just like Lil Baby. Did you see that? I sent it to
Oh
you.
yeah, I seen that.
And I mean, there has to be some type of sanction on it too, especially with what that Drake AI song did. Like that went
Yeah.
crazy, viral, and it's not even real. Like so, now it poses the question: who gets the royalty rights off of these streams?
That Drake in the weekend, that AI. I heard that got nominated or he got some type of something, something.
And speaking of streams, real quick, I forgot to mention this earlier. There's been a lot of conversation about this Andre 3000 record. what people expected from him, how it sounds, how they're either impressed or they're not impressed. But regardless of what you say about the music, there was so much interest in hearing this album or this collection of music. There was no major promo. We knew about it a couple of days before.
Word of mouth. Same week it was dropped. You know, I mean,
3 million streams already on that album. 3 million streams
on YouTube.
No, 3 million streams on like Spotify, that's Apple
Shit.
Music. Yeah.
Is that all that accumulated? Because now, because if you look at like the first song itself, if you go on YouTube, the first song, if you pull up the playlist for that New Blue Sun and you look at the songs, the first song yesterday had like 900,000. It was already almost at 1 million. So is that included in the Spotify?
I'm not sure. I just seen the numbers on a site on billboards, and they said he is at 3 million streams.
I mean, he's probably on 3 million streams just Spotify, because you know it's probably a lot more likely people are gonna listen on Spotify than they will go checking for it on YouTube.
iTunes, yeah.
No, just on YouTube. Just comparing YouTube to Spotify, you're probably gonna get more views. He's probably got more views in these last couple days on Spotify than on YouTube. Because on YouTube, like I said, the first song has almost 1 million views. But the views decline as the you know what I'm saying, as you go down to 8, 9 songs, however many songs it is, the views do decline. But yeah. It's good word of mouth, good promotion. I mean, that's just, you know, for one, he's already anticipated. You know, people have talked about him. He's been in people's GOAT conversations for the longest. You know what I mean? So it's just like it, you know, it's gonna get the traction. It's gonna get attention. You know, it got me. You know, had me talking about it. Had me sharing memes. You know what I mean? You know, people weren't talking about Drake. I mean, they were after the fact. After they talked about the 3K, you know, 3 stacks. They then talked about Drake, Jeezy, Kodak. You know, whatever else that came out. But for the most part, he was the topic of conversation last week.
Definitely was.
That's the title of this episode.
Yeah,
it could be the
top. Oh, not just him though. Diddy and Will Smith have definitely been the topic of conversation too.
What the hell Will Smith did?
What? You didn't hear the story about Will Smith? Well, let me be very careful with how I speak about this, because I, for one, appreciate Will Smith. I appreciate his contribution to society, to the culture. I appreciate him making it cool to not be vulgar, right? You know what I'm saying? If you think about even the Fresh Prince, it was like an urban comical thing, but it wasn't vulgar. And even in the music, you know, most of the music didn't have cussing in it. It was just, you know, so for him to be able to be that impactful, you know, and keep a certain level of moral ethics for the screen, you know, I appreciate that and his contribution to music and to film. But recently, his best friend and his assistant for like 40 years, this guy came from Philly, right? Mm-hmm. So Will Smith put this guy on. He's like his best friend, his assistant, and whatever. He comes out with some interviews, and I guess he's in this tell-all phase of his experiences. And I don't know what has moved him. Like, I often ask in most decisions, what is the intention and motivation behind doing certain things, right? Always, even with the next thing that we're talking about, what is the intention and motivation behind this? But he does this podcast, and he recounts a time period or an event 10 or 15 years ago in which he walks in a room and catches Will Smith and Dwayne Martin having sex. Right. So in this interview, he's giving graphic accounts of, you know, what he witnessed. And of course, social media took it made memes, and now they're having this is the conversation on social media. And I sit back and I analyze this because
Wow,
the
shit.
first nature of people want to cut jokes and make it part of a conversation. But I start to ask, what is the intention? Like, what was the motivation behind this? Was it
From the dude?
from the dude, from any type of catalyst that interjected any type of energy to push this narrative for him to want to do this? So there might be powers that be that are even more powerful than him that is giving him motivation. You know what I mean? We don't
I feel
know, what type of relationships might be there. But I know for this to be my best friend of 40 years, and now you're having this interview and you're talking about my marriage with my wife, what you've seen. You're talking about this situation with Dwayne Martin, who is a friend. And me, frankly,
Oh, he said Dwayne Wade or Dwayne Martin?
Dwayne Martin, Tisha Campbell's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Damn.
guy. So yeah, it's crazy because we're in we currently live in a society where we are overly promoted sexuality. We're overly promoted homosexuality.
Yeah.
You know, just that lifestyle and that choice of life is becoming more I'm not going to say open, but it's
Accepted.
more accepted. We're becoming desensitized to that because 20 years ago, homosexuality wasn't a thing that we just openly talked about, but now it's okay. It's cool, So we become desensitized to that topic. And even for straight men like us, where we probably didn't have that mindset 20 years ago, now we're becoming okay with it because it's a thing. People are openly gay and they have the right to do whatever they want to do. But if a star black actor is involved in homosexuality and you perceived him to be something that was different than this, now all of a sudden we should be talking about the fact that you might be gay when really it doesn't matter. And we're in a place in society where people can do whatever they want to do and they have the freedom to make the choices that they want to make, and they can be gay or they can be heterosexual.
That's
they
probably
can be
the whole, but they're all actors. This is all Hollywood, whatever. Like whatever. But at the same time, if this is all true, all that whole shit, it can make if it's all true, then maybe the whole everything that was going on with his wife and all that was just part of the act.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
And then he shared some opinions about the marriage and how he felt like Jada cared or didn't care about him and vice versa. And I just, it was weird to me because for a friend of 40 years to come forward and want to have this conversation about you, it had to be something. And I just,
Was it DJ Jazzy Jeff?
It wasn't DJ Jazzy Jeff. It's some other guy. You know what I mean? I've never even seen this guy, but or noticed that he existed. But for whatever reason, he wanted to come forth and say this. And Will Smith does just not take me he does not give me the vibe as a person of bad energy who would do malicious things to where you feel like you would need to seek revenge on me, right? So I could be wrong. I don't know what happens behind closed doors, but I don't think that he would treat a person to the extent that they feel like they would need to come air out all of my business for the world to know.
I don't know. I feel you, but shit, bro, we don't. That's a crazy thing, bro, because it's like until you like know these people,
you don't know these
you
people.
don't know them, because it's like, shit. We think, just because Will Smith is one of them actors that's the same person in every movie, not the same character, but he's himself in every role he plays. You know what I'm saying? Whether he playing Wild Wild West or playing Our Robot, he doing the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He do his same shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, bro, these are actors, so it's like, we think that's how he act all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like all the time. So if we was to see him like, you see him in the airport and he's just like, excuse me, sir, get the fuck out my face. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, damn, I thought he was finna be like, oh, I'm saying, oh, Will Smith. But it's like, nah, these motherfuckers are actors, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's their job. They get paid millions and millions of dollars to act, to pretend. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, we don't know who these people are, bro.
Or
You know what I'm
what's
saying?
real.
Because it's like at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's just like, bro, for all we know, this stuff been going, this acting, these people been acting, doing A1 acting since the doggone moon landed on the moon. The spaceship landed on the moon. For all we know.
Which is a conversation for another episode for sure.
But it will be unfiltered, believe that.
Mm.
But your boy Diddy. Speaking of, since we talking about the toxic masculinity,
or even just, I don't know. This is just a whole wild story. So there's this big lawsuit settlement that Cassie dropped. So Cassie is a former Bad Boy artist. She is also a former romantic acquaintance of Diddy as well. From what I seen, she had a, somewhat successful career. She had some
she
hit
had one
records.
song, didn't she?
Yeah, so she had some hits.
It's
And
it's a hit. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
dun, dun. That's it. Okay, she ain't had nothing else, right? That's all I know. I
that
mean, that's a hit though.
that had to have came out on an album or something. I just don't listen to Cassie, but I remember that record.
That's just it.
But she dropped this lawsuit claiming that a lot of illicit sexual activity and behavior and assaults, for lack of better words, against Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, the artist formerly known as Puff Daddy. And this shit hit the internet like, 2 days ago, and everybody was like, wow. And, they're reading this, and there's all type of allegations. I don't want to get all into the depths of, what was in there, but illicit sexual acts, forceful acts, assault. And it seems like as soon as this as soon as this lawsuit came out, um, like within 24 hours, both parties are saying, hey, we're amicably, dealing with this situation outside of the media. So I guess some type of resolution was created. But I don't know. It's a weird story. You was telling me something about NDAs or something like that.
Yeah, just pretty much, they expire. What's it?
Disclosure
Non-disclosure
agreement.
agreement. Yeah.
So basically, he had an NDA on her
Oh,
that
I
she
don't know
couldn't.
any details about it. I'm just
Okay.
saying, like, I'm not here to speculate, but I know in those situations, or I've heard in those situations with celebrities, there are NDAs in place, and they do expire.
That's crazy.
It's very crazy, but it's like I said, earlier off camera, it's like this is probably only the beginning. You know what I mean? Just not necessarily for this particular situation, but just for other people that have been involved with celebrities and have just seen things or been a part of things that they, may have not been able to speak about. So we'll see.
Do you feel like that there is an attack on prominent, influential black figures in entertainment?
Uh, nah, nah. I feel it's more of an attack on the youth. You know what I mean?
So what I say about that is because I mean, so Michael Jackson, one of the most prominent, influential men in music, pop culture, just broke barriers, international barriers, and even with the contribution he did for music and society, in his last years, he began to be portrayed as a villain. But for the past 20 years, you know, he was the heartbeat of the American household, right?
Yeah.
So in his last years, he started to become painted to be a villain, painted to become a pedophile. Now, whether these accusations were true or not, but all of these things transpired up until his death. And right before his death, he was making major entertainment acquisitions, right, within major companies. So you see this happen to him. Um, then you see this stuff that's going on with Bill Cosby, and you know, if he is guilty of sexual crimes,
He
I'm
back
not
in the
condoning that. No, he's back in
Bill Cosby back in court.
he has another accuser who's coming forth saying that something happened in the 70s.
Oh
So
my gosh, man, why they messing with Bill Cosby, bro?
yeah, man, Bill Cosby on his last leg. He's about blind. And once again, I'm not condoning any criminal sexual activity or taking advantage of people unwillingly or unknowledgingly, but I do believe that this is like 50, 60 years ago, right? So people had more than enough time to come forth if it was that detrimental. So
More than enough time.
yeah. And
You could have took better years away from him than y'all are
you
trying to
could have
take
took
now.
better years. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So if it was that pressing of issue, and I do hear the argument that women make that maybe that they were scared to come forth, or maybe this, that, and the third. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If it was me and I had been raped at any point in time by a woman or a man or whatever, and I felt like I had been taken advantage of, I would not wait 30 years to come forth and tell my story. I wouldn't personally.
Not when you know you can get money.
No, not at all.
Because I mean, not a lot. All them people, they ain't doing that just to put somebody in to whatever. They suing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I just won't tell my story, and y'all do whatever y'all want, and I'm gonna go back and live my life. I just had to say what I had to say. No, I'm gonna stay around and see if I can get a check.
Right.
That's why they doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, look, man, yeah, I'm with you, bro. That stuff was like 60 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, if you really wanted to take him down and do him some harm, you should have took him out while the Cosby Show was popping.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that would have been the best way, because you could have took him down, ended, because Cosby Show is very impactful, while it was on the air and for the time it was off the air. I mean, time it was on the air until they took it off and made it harder to find than doggone Osama bin Laden in 2005. You know what I'm saying? But if they really wanted to do something, they should have did it then. Because now it's just like it's a I can't say it's pointless. You really causing him and his family harm. You know, what I mean, he's probably the sole breadwinner for the family for generations. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like the grandkids, can't even tell every people that, hey, my granddaddy Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the all the stuff that goes along with it, man. It just sucks that that these people are coming out. It's almost like they just want him to say, man, how many is it? Just tell us a number. Admit to how many people, and we'll stop bringing people out of the woodworks. Because it's just like, shit, how many people has it been over the past 10 years they've been doing this that have came out? Like over 50, 60?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, really? You must have been, if you was really doing that, you must have been just having like parties where it's just like you got them shits laid out on the fucking, you got that shit laid out on the damn counter, and people that you don't even know is coming through and they're getting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And this might not be a popular thing to say, but I think that a lot of the time, these people are in these situations because they want to be in the environment. They know that there's a possibility that they might have sex, right? Like if I come to your room after a show and it's 2:00 at night, I'm not coming to tell you how great of a show that you had.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have some type of intentions. And if I allow myself to be in a situation and I make a decision on my own free will, but then come back and say, you know what, that probably wasn't the best decision that I could have made. You still made that decision, right? So there has to be a certain level of accountability instead of just saying I was pressured or he made, because you can definitely still say no. You can remove yourself from the place. You can leave the room, but at that point in time, you might have stayed there, and everybody was partying, and you don't want to look like a dork, so you're there and you engage in partying, and you might have a great time, but later on you regret it. Like, I mean, how many times? And I not say this, but how many times have we
Plenty.
might have went home with something that we shouldn't have went home with after the club or something, and it was just the next day we're like, oh man, I can't believe that I just did this. You know, I shouldn't have did this. I was in the wrong state of mind. I had too much to drink or whatever. But as a man, do you own up to that? Right? You know what I mean?
You're
It's
right.
like,
You're right.
damn, I'm not gonna blame the alcohol. I'm not gonna blame this woman who was overly maybe aggressive in you know her approach. That I made this bad decision. I made this bad decision. I chose to go over here.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a good conversation though. That could be a whole nother topic, whole nother, for the entertainment purposes of the customer. Just, but I'm sorry, go ahead. But no, you're right.
And it's probably gonna be a lot of women who might not agree with that, and it's okay. Now, if a person held you down and like took it, like that's different. But I mean, if you knew what you wanted and you engage in activity and hoping that you can gain some type of I know it's probably a benefit. Like, it's probably a lot of girls that go backstage with Chris Brown or they go at home with them and they either want to experience Chris Brown because they have this type of attraction towards him, or in their mind they think that can make him feel like I'm the one, right? And you try to make him feel like you're the one and you put in all this work and you're just another girl to him, and now you're upset, right? Now you're a little bit spiteful because you allowed yourself to open up to him more than you would open up to any other man, and you were just another girl. Right?
Shit's crazy, man. Hold your head, Bill. That's tough, man. Shouts out to Chris Brown too.
Yeah, breezy. I just seen a video of him Moneybag Yo in his closet. His closet is bigger than my house. It's crazy.
Damn.
But that pretty much concludes this installment of the Man Cave Memoirs. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you click that link below, subscribe, get all the notifications for the comments, find out when we're going to post next. Hit the like, subscribe, blah, 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 like button, subscribe button. And until next time, do you have any closing remarks?
Follow Best in the Flesh. That's the Best in the Flesh on IG. Y'all follow Brandon Tillman on what's that thing? Facebook. And shouts out. Follow All Eyes on Media. Sorry, y'all. I've been sipping on my adult beverage, and I'm ready to call an Uber to go home.
Absolutely. Drink responsibly. So, until next time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow the Best in the Flesh. Make sure you follow Man Cave Memoirs. Make sure you follow myself, Urban Demand. And until next time, be great on purpose.